This is Neil at In Veritas Vino. Today I thought I'd talk about why people get red wine headaches. Um, so ran across an article in Wine Spectator from February 23rd, 2015, which I think is on their blog actually, which is in the health section of their blog. And it's an article by Douglas De Jesus. And in there they mention sulfites and tannin and possibly even histamine as one of the leading causes. And so I did some research and so I thought I'd run through the possible causes for headaches that are caused by red wine and not necessarily by white wine. So one of the things is possibly the alcohol itself, which if you drink alcohol, be it red wine, white wine, vodka, something else like that, and it gives you headaches, it may just be due to the alcohol, and that just indicates that you probably should not drink as much alcohol. One of the other things is sulfites in red wine, which are a preservative, and it's a sulfur compound. And so if you eat a bunch of like lunch meat or dried fruit and don't get headaches from that, it's probably not the sulfites. Now, tannin itself, what it does is it releases potentially too much serotonin, which in high quantities which is a neurotransmitter. There's a lot of it's involved in the gut and having to do with appetite, and then also neurotransmitters, memory. There's actually some indication that it may be involved in deciding in primates who is the alpha male or female in a social hierarchy, which is kind of interesting. But too much serotonin due to the tannin may give you headaches. And then another thing is the histamine, which you see it in the allergy medication commercials, the histamine blocker, crap like that. And so if you think it might be the histamine, I would suggest try drinking sake. And sake has a lot of histamine in it, and so if you get a headache from sake, that may actually be the cause. One other thing is, if that is the cause, try taking an antihistamine before you drink a bunch of red wine, and that may cause it to go away. Another thing is prostaglandins, which are something involved in pain and swelling. This is something that can be relieved by taking an Advil, Tylenol, or aspirin. Now, taking Tylenol with alcohol is actually really hard on the liver, so that's not a good thing to do. But the one thing that Tylenol does do is it's supposed to help an early stage of the headache that you get from red wine, whereas the Advil and the aspirin help with later stages in the headache. Possibly if it is the prostaglandins that are causing that problem. Another thing is tyramine, which if you eat aged cheese, dried fruits, sauerkraut, soy, or a bunch of processed foods, and wind up getting a headache from a lot of those, maybe the tyramine that's in the wine that's causing those. And so if you eat a lot of aged cheese and don't get a headache, that may not be the cause, and you can rule that out. So I mentioned alcohol itself. One of the other known things might be an unknown thing in the yeast itself, or the bacteria that's found in wine that hasn't been identified yet, and so that's maybe the unknown cause. So I would go through these other things and try to cross them off the list. And then one of the other things that happens when drinking red wine, which is not any of these other causes, is actually getting really flush and getting blotchy skin. And that has to do with acetaldehyde, which is it's a chemical that you get from the buildup of metabolizing alcohol. And so those are a couple of the main causes. You're welcome to do further research on those, or send me questions if you have about those. It's sort of a brief run over, and the thing is that people don't really know, and there's a lot of idea that it might be multiple things leading to headaches, or they may vary or shift, or and a lot of the research on red wine headaches has to do with there being multiple causes, so that maybe one of these things, but then also not getting enough sleep, or going through menopause, or being on your period, or something like that, which may cause that to happen, and a couple of factors may lead to getting these headaches. So if you do have headaches like that, I would suggest trying to go through these one at a time, trying to cross them off the list, and then start researching wines that don't have these components in them, and go from there. So if you have any questions, email me at neil@inveritasvino, or in_veritas_vino on Twitter.